Some people assume that when an adult child talks about being low contact with or estranged from their parent, that it's an attack. People can speak about their experiences without it automatically being an attack. A lot of times we discuss troubled relationships because we're trying to process what happened. Someone may be putting into words experiences that they didn't understand when they were younger, or they might be trying to work through why a relationship that was supposed to be safe ended up being so harmful. An adult child may say, my mom always dismissed my feelings, or I feel like I couldn't tell my dad anything because it might end in a huge argument. They're describing their experience with the relationship. They're not saying that the parent is an evil person. Human beings are complicated. A parent can behave in ways that are harmful and also have good qualities. Talking about the harm doesn't mean that good parts never existed. People sometimes talk about estrangement because they're trying to help others see patterns that they didn't see themselves. You can hear someone else's story and think, that's what's happening in my family. Learning about emotional immaturity, parentification, boundary violations, and other dysfunctional patterns can give language to something that someone has struggled to explain, which can be very meaningful without them having to convince everyone that their parent is a terrible human being. There is a difference between explaining a decision and trying to get people to take sides. An adult child might explain that I stopped speaking to my father because every conversation became hostile and I couldn't deal with the relationship. They're telling you why they made a decision about their own life that involves that relationship. They're not asking you to hate their father, confront him, or choose them over him. Sometimes people hear any negative description and assume you're trying to build a case against someone when they're simply telling their own story. People often talk about estrangement because silence can be confusing. When someone suddenly stops attending family gatherings, other people might have questions. The adult child may decide that they don't want to keep pretending everything is fine or making excuses and just say, we're not in contact anymore because the relationship wasn't healthy for me. This doesn't mean they owe everyone every detail. It means they can give an honest explanation if they choose to. Talking about it is part of figuring out what happened. You don't always understand a relationship while you're inside it. A person might spend years thinking, maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I'm too sensitive. Maybe this is just what families are like. Once they're away from the relationship, they may start looking back on things differently. This process isn't about revenge. It's understanding your own life. It's integrating your experiences. It's healing. We do need to distinguish between someone honestly describing their experience and trying to publicly humiliate someone. Those aren't the same things. And the adult children that I have seen discussing their experience do not seem to be trying to humiliate anybody. We do not need to assume malicious intent every time an adult child says something negative about their parent. An adult is allowed to talk about their own life. They can discuss what happened to them, what meaning they took from it, and they decide what they want to share. They don't have to portray their parent as a monster in order for their experience to be valid. And they don't have to stay silent simply because someone might interpret their honesty as an attack. Talking about estrangement is typically to help us understand and make sense of our own choices. It is not trying to make your parent look bad. Have a good day.